What if I told you that one of history's greatest philosophers never left his hometown, followed a schedule so precise neighbors set their clocks by it, and turned discipline into a way of life? Immanuel Kant wasn't just a thinker, he was a master of time. Every minute of his day was planned, purposeful, and part of a system he designed. So, what drove this philosopher to wake up at 4:45 a.m. every day for decades? How did such a structured life produce ideas that reshaped the world? Let's explore the radical simplicity of the man who believed discipline was the key to freedom. Immanuel Kant was born in 1724 in the Prussian town of Königsberg, today's Kaliningrad. He was the fourth of 9 children, though only 4 survived infancy. His father, Johann Georg Kant, was a harness maker, crafting leather goods with quiet precision. His mother, Anna Regina, came from a devout pietist family, a strict Protestant sect that valued moral purity, personal discipline, and inner reflection. And that shaped him. Kant later wrote of his mother, "She planted and nurtured the first seeds of goodness in me." Despite having little money, his parents believed in education. With the help of a local pastor, Kant entered the Collegium Frideriциanum, a strict Latin school run by pietists. There he mastered Latin, logic, and religion under strict, often joyless conditions. By his late teens, Kant was proficient in the classics, but it was at the University of Königsberg where his passion for reason took root. Studying philosophy, mathematics, and the sciences, he began to question theology's dominance and embrace rational inquiry. Remarkably, Kant never left Königsberg, never traveling more than 100 kilometers from his birthplace. Yet, from this small corner of Prussia, he crafted ideas that transformed our understanding of knowledge, morality, and the human mind. Kant believed true freedom came not from chaos, but from order. As he wrote, "We are not rich by what we possess, but by what we can do without." His life embodied this principle, stripping away distractions to focus on reason and purpose. Kant's routine wasn't just precise. It was a lifeline. His frail health demanded structure to maintain energy and clarity. Here's what a typical day looked like in his most productive years. Every single day, without fail, his alarm clock was discipline. At 4:45 a.m., Kant would rise. No excuses, no delays. This was the non-negotiable start to his day. By 5 a.m., he'd be seated with a cup of tea and his pipe. This was his moment of quiet, spent in meditation and thought, preparing his mind for the intellectual rigor ahead. Then at 5:30 a.m., the real work began. He dove into writing and reading, deep philosophical inquiry. This was his golden hour of productivity, uninterrupted and intense. By 7 a.m., Kant was ready to step into his teaching role. He gave university lectures for several hours, often until around 11 a.m., bringing the sharp edges of his thinking into public discourse. Once lectures were over, it was time for his main and only, meal of the day. Around 11 a.m., Kant would enjoy lunch, which was a proper sit-down affair. He believed in nourishing the body just once and doing it well. After lunch, by around 1 p.m., he shifted gears. This was a time for lighter mental activity, reading newspapers, writing letters, and catching up on less demanding reading. Then came what many saw as the most iconic part of his day. At precisely 3:30 p.m., Kant would set out on his daily walk. Always the same route, always at the same time. In fact, locals in Königsberg joked they could set their watches by the sight of him passing by. Kant's discipline wasn't about rigidity for its own sake. As he put it, through discipline, the mind gains power over itself. By 4:30 p.m., he was back home. This part of the day was more flexible. He might return to reading or allow himself to rest. As evening arrived, 7 p.m. was a time of solitude. Occasionally, he would entertain visitors, but more often, he used these hours to reflect. And then, like clockwork, at 10 p.m., it was lights out. Bedtime was sacred, just like every other part of his routine. Why did Kant live this way? Because he believed that reason and virtue required structure. He wasn't ruled by moods, emotions, or random bursts of inspiration. He was ruled by what he called the categorical imperative, a universal law that should govern all human behavior. Act only according to that maxim, whereby you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. This wasn't just philosophy, it was his life's blueprint. Kant's routine gave him the freedom to explore profound ideas. He wasn't emotionless. He loved lively debates and humor during his social lunches, but he channeled his energy through order. As he wrote, everything in nature works according to laws. Only a rational being has the power to act according to the conception of laws. His schedule was his law, and it set his mind free. Kant only ate once per day, a large midday lunch. He believed this kept his mind sharp and his frail body unburdened. As a scholar with limited means, it also saved time and resources. So why did Kant's routine actually work? Here are 3 key reasons. 1. Discipline equals freedom. By mastering his schedule, Kant liberated his mind to explore the biggest questions in philosophy. 2. Focus beats chaos. His most profound thoughts didn't come from bursts of inspiration. They came from a structured, predictable rhythm. 3. Habits build internal power. Kant's routine wasn't boring. It was his anchor. It made him dependable, not just to others, but to himself. Kant's life reflected his awe for order, both in the universe and within. 2 things filled the mind with ever-easing awe: the starry heavens above me and the moral law within me. Kant never married. He never traveled far. He rarely deviated from his schedule. Yet, from this disciplined life, he gave us a vision of humanity rooted in freedom, dignity, and responsibility. The irony? The philosopher who defined autonomy lived with machine-like precision, but it was a machine of his own design, powered by conviction and reason. Kant's clockwork life shows us that discipline isn't just about rules, it's about unlocking your mind's true potential. If this dive into his world got you thinking, click the like button and subscribe to join our journey through history's greatest minds. Drop a comment. Could you stick to Kant's routine for a week? Or tell us, what's your secret to mastering time? Let's keep chasing greatness, one disciplined step at a time. See you in the next video.